Hi friends! So, I know I haven't posted anything in a long time, and I know that I usually post hiking related content, but a while back I kind of rebranded a little bit into adventure itself, and I try to look at everything I do as an adventure. And I've been really busy with college, so I kind of dropped off the face of the earth on my page here because I started college and I've been really busy doing that. And my husband has been away on training for the last month, and I have been hyper fixating on plants. So that has been a big adventure for me. My friends are sick of hearing me talk about plants and sharing plants, but that's fine. I'm still having fun on my adventure. And I thought that I would share my repotting of my bromeliads that I got in the other day. So this one actually has 2 in the pot, and bromeliads are, I don't know how to say this word. I'm still learning. Anyway, the point is, usually bromeliads, or most types of bromeliads, are kind of like orchids and air plants, things like that, where they usually grow on trees. Bromeliads can grow on rocks, things like that, but they can adapt to being in soil. And since these already came in soil, I'm gonna keep them in soil. But I wanted to combine all of them into one pot, just to make a prettier display, and also because why not? I don't know. And see how they are, because I mean, these look vastly different from one another. I don't know like the differences in them. Like this one's, the flower has opened up. These have some variegation. I don't really know the difference between the two. One of my favorite things about these are how you water them. So yeah, you do water the soil, but not as much as you would like other house plants. You actually water, they have these little cups, they like these natural cups that they form. Like this one will probably be easier to show you. So right here, they like form these natural cups, and that's how you water them. And bromeliads will die off after they flower. They will start to die off, and then they will start to put all of their energy into creating pups. So you don't get to keep the plant that you initially got forever, but it will have babies, and then you can grow the babies, and so on and so forth. So they're really cool plants. This is my first time having them, so this is a learning experience. I didn't pay a whole lot for these. I think they're beautiful, but if they don't live, not such a big deal. I'm not out a whole lot of money, and you know, you're along with me for the ride for this experiment. So I'm gonna start with some potting mix. I'm not gonna use as much as I would probably for something else like my peace lily, but I'm gonna use a little bit of sphagnum moss. I would prefer to use peat, but I don't have any, or not, or like not orchid, coconut fibers. Prefer that, but I don't have any. I do have orchid bark, so I'm gonna try to make a mix of that and see kind of what happens there. So not really sure. I don't want a whole lot of soil, and this is a little damp. I may actually add a little bit of perlite too. So I will be right back. I'm gonna go get some perlite. Okay, so maybe just, I know I'm gonna need quite a bit. This is a pot one of my friends, she gave me some Tradescantia that was in this pot, but I decided to separate them all out and put them in smaller pots, and kind of I made 3 plants out of it instead of one big one, because I think I'm going to give away 1 or 2 of or probably 2 of them, and I keep my larger one. I've got the larger one over there in the window. Okay, that's good for now. And then I'm gonna add some of this sphagnum moss. I have no idea if this is gonna, like, fingers crossed, but this is why we're experimenting. I'm gonna use what I have. I mean, I maybe could have wet this some already, but since the soil in this bag is already a little damp, I'm gonna be okay. I'll just separate some of these big chunks out, and then, because bromeliads, they don't like to completely dry out, I don't think. I've got to read up a little bit more on how to care for them. My expertise with houseplants lies with pothos. Pothos and aloe, although my aloe is, well, you know what? She's got some new growth on her when I checked yesterday. I'm learning more about begonias. I want a huge collection of begonia. That would be fantastic. Because I really want these, the begonia maculata something. Anyway, polka dot begonia. And they're kind of like, they got the angel wings. They're so pretty. And then there's these iridescent ones that, a lot of begonia are, goodness, just break it, why don't you? It's okay. Are really shiny in certain light, and I think that's so freaking cool. That's like probably one reason I'm all about begonia, because they're so shiny. And there are some that, when you shine light, a certain kind of light on them, they like look blue in color, and that's insane. I've got a big old spider plant that I got a couple weeks ago, and I have this new pothos that is, I can't remember the cultivator's name, but he's out of Japan, and so this pothos is derived from the neon pothos. It is a neon pothos, but it has these like gills. They're not actually gills, but they look like these gills that are on the bottom of the leaves, and I thought it was so cool. And I don't know if you've ever used Whatnot before. Whatnot is this online auction site. They do like live auctions on video feed. And I decided to give it a try because you can get some pretty good deals for plants on there. And I thought I would give it a shot just because, why not? And that's where my bromeliads came from. And that's where, but my very first auction was this really kind gentleman, or he seemed to be very kind, I should say. I don't know him personally, but he seemed to be very kind. And he put up this Champs-Élysées is what it's called, and I didn't realize they're not very, very rare, but they're on the rarer side, because you're not going to find them in the big box stores here locally. Maybe elsewhere, I don't really know, but I know here locally you're not going to find them in the box stores like Lowe's or Walmart. So I didn't really know what I had, because I mean, I got it pretty cheap. So I do recommend Whatnot if you're a plant enthusiast. Just be mindful of your sellers, do your research. Whatnot does have, this is not a paid advert. This is just me talking because it's just what I've used to purchase plants. I got these bromeliads from House of Orchids on Whatnot. And see, these have really like kind of shallow roots, because these are not, this is why you water them, excuse me, this is why you water them in their little cups, because they don't have very strong, deep roots. All right, I'm gonna keep adding. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know, this pot may be too big. I'm a little worried that it's going to be too moist, maybe. But we already made it this far. I'm just going to keep going and hope for the best. So I'm not too concerned. Like I said, I'm going to... Maybe eventually I will actually purchase some bromelia, because you can buy bromeliads at Lowe's. They actually had a large selection when I was there the other day. I bought my husband got me a begonia and a philodendron Brazil for our anniversary last weekend, and we were looking at the different plants, and he gets me tickled, and I know he's kind of like half joking because he puts up with all my hyperfixations. He goes hiking with me, even though he doesn't want to. He deals with my loud piano playing, even though he hates music. And now he's putting up with and buying me plants, despite not wanting a jungle in the house. So, anyway, so he bought me some plants, and he's going through and he's going, ooh, what is this? Ooh, what is that? And then he gets to the bromeliad section. He's like, what are these? Because a lot of them looked like this one, but with the flowers like this. And he's like, those are kind of ugly and they're kind of weird. And I'm like, yeah, but they're cool. And anyway, so I actually would like to experiment maybe later on when I get a better, when I get my plant area set up better. I would like to experiment with putting them on a rock or a piece of wood, something like that. I think that would be really cool. There is also another method of planting that is especially beneficial for anthuriums. I don't have any anthuriums, but I do have a couple on my wish list where it's called kokedama, I think is what it's called. It's a Japanese practice where you create these moss balls and put your plants in them, and I think that is incredibly cool. See, I don't know, those of you that have been here, you know, I live in a basement house. Like the majority of my house is underground. I have 3 windows in my house, so all of my plants have to be under grow lights, except for the couple that are in this west-facing window over here. So I'm trying not to invest in some really expensive, trendy plants, even though there are some alocasia that I'm absolutely just dying to put in my collection. And I just don't have that kind of setup because they need a lot of humidity and they need a lot of bright light, and I just don't have that. But maybe one day I can set up a cabinet for that. But right now I'm just trying to stick with, I do have one alocasia that I bought though. It's a dragon scale alocasia that I got from a local greenhouse here. Oh yeah, gosh, let me tell you, I love playing in dirt. This is my favorite this is my favorite part of plant care, is mixing the soil and amending all of these amendments and getting it to where it just feels so, I don't know. I love the way it smells. If I don't get to go hiking and walk on the dirt and smell it out in nature, then at the very least, I get to bring it inside and run my hands through it and still get kind of that touch of nature that I constantly crave. And so this has been a good supplementation for my mental health, especially since I've been in school and not been able to get outside as much, because as you all know, that is sincerely my biggest passion, is being outside and just enjoying everything nature has to offer. Okay, I'm not gonna really disturb that too much. Try to keep that intact. I think I'm gonna put this one like this, and because it's a lot bigger than the other ones, and then put these other two kind of in the front, like that. I'm just going to use these and backfill. And I'm going to do everything I can not to get any soil down in the cups, because they're not going to be happy with me if I were to do that, because that's how they get their drinks and their nutrients. I do know that with bromeliads, you don't want to water them too often. I know in the summer, when it's warmer, you know, you want to water them a little bit more often, every couple weeks, every couple weeks. Just really, it's just, you got to pay attention to your plants. You got to check them. You know, no such thing really as a watering schedule, because your plants are going to tell you when they're ready for water and nutrients and being repotted and all of that stuff. But if any of you guys, which I know some of you are, plant enthusiasts, what is on your wish list? Because when I said I want begonias, I want all the begonias. I am absolutely in love with Monstera. I have wanted a Monstera for years and years and years and years and years, but I never took the dive into houseplants, really. I mean, I had a few that my mom had given me, or my mama had given me, like my pothos over there and my aloe over there. But as for big houseplants and stuff like that, like I was always afraid to kind of branch out, and then one day I just took the plunge, and then it's kind of become an obsession. It started with my alocasia, and then the Champs-Élysées, and then oh, actually, it started, this is wrong, someone had thrown away this massive aloe. Let me tell you, I have admired this aloe for 5 years, okay? Off and on, because I haven't always worked down there, but I had watched this aloe grow and grow. It's one, I don't know the species of aloe, but it's very broad-leaved, and it gets very big, and I had seen it flower a couple of times, and it got so large they had to chop it and replant it. So it was one of the babies off of the mother plant, and it had fallen and broken, and I assumed that the people didn't want to fool with it, which understandable. But I brought it home and I have nursed it, and it is doing very well. It is very tiny. I had to really chop it down because there was some serious damage, but it wasn't unsalvageable, okay? It was still healthy for the most part. So I was able to bring it home and nurse it back to health, and it is doing really well. It looks a little scraggly, but it's doing well, and it's growing somewhat. I think it's putting more effort right now into growing roots, because I did just plant it straight into soil. I didn't propagate in water, but it seems to be happy and thriving as far as that goes. It's still standing up. It's still very green. It's still very firm. So I've got high hopes that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing underneath the dirt. And anyway, that's where that began, because I have loved that plant for so long, and I was devastated to see it thrown in the trash. And that's kind of where it began. And then I bought that Champs-Élysées, and then it just kind of exploded. And I've been heavily collecting for the last couple weeks. So I went from having one little aloe plant that my mama gave me, and a pothos that my mama gave me, and an orchid that I had gotten that was just kind of left somewhere, and it was still healthy, and I brought it home, and I have babied it for a couple of years, and she actually got really sick recently and with some root rot, and I nursed it back to health, so it's doing really well. And yeah, and here we are. So we've got plans in the works. When the husband gets back, we're gonna do some rearranging. I've got a shelf out there. I've got some new grow lights coming, And I do plan on getting a Monstera Thai constellation. That is probably, of the Monsteras, that's number one on my wish list. And it's just because, I don't know, it's fascinating. I think a Monstera deliciosa, I really want one of those. I know they're super common, and that is great. That means that I can run to Lowe's and get one. Actually, a friend has a cutting she's going to give me, so I'm not going to worry about that. And I know they get really huge, and I don't have a whole lot of space, but I really don't care. I will literally, look, I'll get rid of everything just to have one of those. I've wanted one for a long time, and I'm really hoping, maybe, fingers crossed, that I could get it to fruit, because I want to try one of the fruits so bad, so bad. Okay, so I have got them potted up, and we're gonna see. I don't know if I can, okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I got them all potted up. Beautiful, huh? Love it. I'll have to adjust it a little bit, but I think this was a good idea because I like the display of all of them together in one pot. And it's kind of hard to kind of get a feel for what it actually looks like on camera. I don't want to get them too close together, but I don't know. Maybe a little bit of rearranging, but it's still pretty nice. Okay, friends, maybe later on when I have a little bit more time, I'll kind of go through what plants I do have, and maybe bring you guys along on this journey, because I'm gonna be in school for a while. I'm at the end of my first semester almost. I've got a couple more weeks left, but yeah. I'm having a lot of fun. It's been an absolute lifesaver because my husband has been gone. He only got to come home on weekends. Thankfully, he did get to come home on weekends, so it's not been too terrible, but he's been gone for a month, and this is his last week. He gets to come home tomorrow. So I have needed something just to take my mind off of that, you know, and help, because it does help me keep focused on school, because I'll do a little bit of plant chores, and then I will get to work on schoolwork. And that's actually what I'm going to do now. And it's been so funny. My kid is so over me and my plant craze, because she's like, Dad is going to kill us. And then another plant, of course. And even at our homeschool co-op, I'm like, plants, and they're like over it. So, but it does give me a good idea. I do teach diamond painting there, so maybe here in a couple years after we finish our gigantic canvas, I'll do maybe a houseplant class. Wouldn't that be something? All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching, and if you got bored, sorry, I ramble. I don't care. I love you. Goodbye.